This Sun-Moon Scimitar was forged by Meng Yaoqi, a famous swordsmith from the northern Song dynasty. The Sun-Moon Scimitar has two great powers. It can not only emit a powerful sword energy to sweep away thousands of troops and kill enemies on the battlefield, but it can also emit a sword cry to interfere with the enemy's movements and immobilize them. At that time, the enemy troops were terrified by this scimitar and called it the Divine Scimitar. But there was a martial arts master who used this divine scimitar and was eventually defeated by a blind man. So who is this blind man? The movie begins in a desert, where Leonard, the owner of the Sun-Moon Scimitar, flees from the war. With his family to Jinghua Mountain, they pass a battlefield on the way. Leonard gets out of the carriage to check the situation, but is ambushed by the enemy. They are martial artists bribed by the enemy country, who have been waiting for Leonard here to steal the divine scimitar. Leonard leads them to a wooded area, where the two sides engage in battle. He takes the divine scimitar and swings it at the crowd, a gust of sword wind sweeping past. These martial arts villains are sent flying, but the enemy has split into two groups. Leonard's family has been captured. He quickly unleashes his sword energy and finishes off the remaining enemies before going back to help. At this time, the big man in black orders his men to kill Leonard's family. Just then, several hidden weapons fly towards them. A man in black suddenly appears. He then dismounts and kills all the minions. One of the big guys chases after Leonard's daughter. The girl is quickly cornered. Just as the big guy's crescent shovel is about to fall, the man in black arrives in time and fights with him. Seeing that the man in black is no match for the big guy, Leonard takes out the divine scimitar and emits the sword cry. The big man in black is instantly knocked to the ground and unable to fight. The man in black seizes the opportunity and finishes him off with a single blow. He takes off his mask and tells Leonard his name is Felix. He wants to become Leonard's apprentice and learn martial arts from him. Time flies, and now Felix has become Leonard's senior disciple, while Leonard is getting on in years. He wants to pass on his divine scimitar to one of his disciples. In fact, Felix had ulterior motives when he became Leonard's apprentice. This is all part of his plan. His goal has always been the divine scimitar. Now the only obstacle is his fifth junior brother, Lincoln, whose martial arts skills are superior to his. The master decides to hold a competition to determine who will inherit the divine scimitar. However, Lincoln is honest by nature and unwilling to compete. Uncle Zhong sees through Felix's plot and forces Lincoln to fight. But Lincoln is still unmotivated and even deliberately loses to Felix. The master has no choice but to pass the divine scimitar to Felix. As soon as he gets his hands on the divine scimitar, Felix immediately becomes arrogant. However, the master was prepared for this. This scimitar is a fake. His scheme exposed. Felix has no choice but to flee. On his deathbed, the master passes the real divine scimitar to Lincoln, telling him that this scimitar could influence the rise and fall of the nation, and that he must keep it safe. He instructs Lincoln to find a wandering swordsman named Howard in Jiangnan. Once the crown prince ascends the throne, as only Howard can present the divine scimitar to the court. Meanwhile, Felix, who has escaped, seeks out Gordon, the head of the Shang family. The Shang family is a prestigious clan that has been bought off by a foreign state. They plan to kidnap Lincoln's wife, Bianca, to force Lincoln to return. They arrive at Bianca's house, kidnap Bianca, and kill her mother. Upon receiving the news, Lincoln rushes back as fast as he can. Felix and his men have already set a trap, waiting for Lincoln to walk right into it. In order to save Bianca, Lincoln decides to pay a visit to the Shang residence at night. He is soon discovered by the guards. Lincoln has no choice but to fight them first. Seeing that Lincoln doesn't have the divine scimitar with him, Felix rushes to Lincoln's house and pretends to be Howard in an attempt to trick Lincoln's family into handing over the divine scimitar. However, his disguise is seen through. With his cover blown, Felix drops all pretense and attacks Lincoln's family. Although Lincoln is surrounded, his martial arts skills are formidable, and he eventually manages to escape. By the time he gets home, Felix has already set his house on fire. He only manages to save his child. The rest of his family is dead. He initially plans to entrust his child to his aunt and return for revenge after delivering the divine scimitar, but discovers that his aunt has also been killed by Felix. The two enemies waste no time in engaging in battle. They quickly start fighting. Felix is still no match for Lincoln. After a few moves, his weapon is knocked away. But because the child inside keeps crying, Lincoln is unable to fight at full strength. Felix reminds Lincoln that he spared his life once and says he will return the favor today. He allows Lincoln to tend to the child first. But this is all a ruse. While Lincoln is comforting the child, another person hiding nearby makes their move and seizes the divine scimitar. The divine scimitar ends up in Felix's hands. However, he doesn't plan to kill Lincoln. He wants Lincoln to live with regret. Lincoln looks at his child and ultimately chooses to chase after Felix. Without any weapons, he grabs a bamboo stick. He knocks Felix down with the bamboo stick, but Felix has the divine scimitar. He unsheathes the scimitar and emits the sword cry, incapacitating Lincoln. Then, he uses a hidden weapon to blind Lincoln. Blinded, Lincoln stumbles and falls onto the sharp bamboo. Seeing no signs of life from Lincoln, Felix leaves with the divine scimitar. After a while, Lincoln struggles to his feet. He is still alive. He crawls back to the hut and takes his child. Later, Felix and Gordon return to check on Lincoln, but find him gone. It turns out that Lincoln has been rescued by an old woman. In the days that follow, the enemies continue to search for Lincoln, while Lincoln himself has not given up. He has lost his sight, but his hearing is still intact. He begins to train his hearing in order to regain his strength. Eventually, Lincoln is found, but by now, his skills have reached a new level. His extraordinary hearing combined with his original skills make him just as powerful as he was before. He takes down a wave of assassins and lets Jack, one of the minions, go. To repay Lincoln's kindness, Jack rescues Bianca. They reunite at the old woman's house. It is no longer safe to stay here. They decide to leave this place together. But Lincoln also has something he must do. He tells Jack to take his family and go first. He, on the other hand, must fulfill his mission to seek revenge and reclaim the divine scimitar. Bianca is reluctant to let her husband go, but she knows she can't stop him. Meanwhile, Gordon and Felix have also received the news. They split up. Gordon will confront Lincoln, while Felix will capture Lincoln's family. This time, Lincoln does not run away. He charges into battle. Because he is blind, he falls into Gordon's trap, but he quickly breaks free. Blinded, Lincoln fights against the crowd. He uses two short blades to kill his enemies, preventing them from getting close. To avoid being attacked from all sides, he lures everyone to a ruined building. Gordon orders his men to charge at Lincoln relentlessly. But the more Lincoln kills, the braver he becomes. Before long, Gordon is left all alone. He has no choice but to draw his sword and fight Lincoln himself. However, he is no match for Lincoln. Lincoln throws a short blade, injuring Gordon's thigh. Although he cannot see, Lincoln's hearing is incredibly sharp. He follows the sound to find Gordon and kills him with his own hands. Just then, Felix arrives. Lincoln's family has been captured. Felix orders his men to bring Lincoln's family and his benefactor forward, forcing Lincoln to kill his own loved ones. Despite Bianca's pleas for mercy, Felix refuses to spare them. He orders his men to bring Bianca forward. Lincoln is unaware that he is killing his own family. He turns and swings his blades. Bianca's mask falls off. Lincoln recognizes his wife's voice. Bianca tells him that he has been tricked and has mistakenly killed their benefactor. With that, Bianca collapses to the ground. Enraged, Lincoln catches his child and becomes unstoppable. With his exceptional hearing, none of the minions can land a single blow on him. Soon, all the minions are dead. Felix draws the divine scimitar. He chooses not to engage in close combat, but instead unleashes the sword energy at Lincoln. The divine scimitar is invincible once unsheathed. Lincoln, who moments ago was untouchable, is quickly struck down. However, just as Felix is about to approach, Lincoln seizes the opportunity to pull on a rope and trip him. He then knocks the divine scimitar out of Felix's hand with a single blow. Felix has no choice but to pick up an ordinary sword and fight Lincoln. This time, it is Lincoln who uses hidden weapons. In the end, Lincoln is faster and plunges his blade into Felix. After defeating his final enemy, Lincoln checks on Bianca. To his surprise, she is still alive. She picks up their child. They are the only ones left alive. Finally, Lincoln retrieves the divine scimitar. He has avenged his master. The Divine Scimitar is a tragic martial arts film with a lot of sorrow and sadness in the plot. The actions of some characters are somewhat perplexing. The highlight of the film is its genre fusion. Screenwriter Chang Gang blends in elements from several Japanese samurai films, such as Zatoichi, Lone Wolf and Cub, and Miyamoto Musashi. The plot is not overly complicated. The film has a runtime of 106 minutes, but it packs a lot of information into that time. This film provided Chang Gang with a lot of experience that he would later use in his martial arts masterpiece, The 12 Gold Medallions. What other classic tragic martial arts films do you know? Feel free to leave your answers in the comments section below and discuss them with us. That's it for today's video. For more, remember to like and subscribe. This is Kung Fu Movie Recaps from YouTube. Until next time.